We're live. What's going on,
Hey,
Victor?
how's it going? Doing good. How
The
are
launch
you?
of BookMine Explorer, man. I'm incredibly excited for today because, man, did we put a lot of work in behind the
We
scenes,
put in
months
a
and months and
lot of
months
work.
to
We
get
we
this
actually
here.
thought there was a possibility of launching in August, and then it was like just so much more work after that point. I'm like, okay, yeah, just kept pushing it back and back, and we finally got it. Finally got the bugs fixed, and we're ready to launch. So excited about it.
We already got Roz here. Shout out to the best of the best in the business. Congratulations on your launch. Many best wishes for huge success in this endeavor and bringing us all to the next level. Thank you, Roz.
Let's go. Thank
That's
you.
incredibly kind. And that really is the goal. We wanted to, I mean, the reason why I built BookMine is to help
Mhm.
people find books easier. And the reason why we built BookMine Explorer is to also help people find the types of books that I'm known for finding, which are those high ROI books. So,
Yeah.
anyone that's out there, feel free to say hi in the chat. Tell us where you're coming from. I'm down here in San Diego, California. Victor, where are you coming from?
DC, Washington, DC.
Yeah.
Been here now 4 years. So
Woo!
and
So,
hey Joji, and I posted on the seasonal book arbitrage group. Like in August, I posted like some finds that BookMine Explorer had found already, and I kind of put that out there. It was about 28 books, and I just told everyone to go and buy them. And I went to go back to check my work, right? Because I wanted to see whether or not, hey, are we actually giving a lot of value here or not. And so I looked at these 28 books where they were on August 7th versus where they are now, and whether or not there was any sales and where the sales happened. And after these 28 books, like if you bought all of them with $602, and in profit, after like take home profit after all of that was $1,079. It was 179% ROI on 28 books. 28 books will get you $1,079 with just BookMine Explorer. It was crazy how much profit each book was. I think it was like $38 in profit per book. Wild.
yeah, it's I know it. I mean, I've been living it, right? We built this
Mm-hmm.
tool for honestly for me, like
Yeah.
for my style of long tail books that can flip for high ROI. And we're gonna get into that a little bit later. Let's shout people out though. We've got Bob in the house. We got Nathan. Hello
We
from
got
the Lone
Nathan.
Star
How's it going,
State.
Nathan?
Yeah, we have quite a few people
Scott.
here at Books and Beyond. We also got Scott from Dallas, Texas. Thumbs up
Nice
from
one,
the Bay
Scott.
Area. All right, California representing the Philippines. All right, what's up? That's awesome.
How's it
North
going, Jeff?
Carolina. We've got Tanner here, the
Okay.
Junk Flipper. Make sure you guys go
Tanner,
subscribe. He
how's it
just
going?
started his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
He's killing it. Make
His
sure you go
videos have been
subscribe.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got Oxnard, California, Myrtle Beach. We got
All
New
these people from
York. Oh my
California. New
gosh.
York.
BookMine Explorer is finally live.
Yes.
Woo! Yes, it is. If you're a BookMine member, you could actually go. It is actually live right now, which is
Yeah.
awesome. We got
Yeah.
Dale Pearl in Texas. We got Sarah here. Guys and gals, you got to check out Sarah's video on the BookMine channel.
All you guys should know Sarah by now.
Yeah.
Sarah is famous in our community.
Whoa, Katie is here.
Katie.
Katie, let's
Wow.
go. I'm
How are you
so
doing?
hoping Katie comes to Books and Beyond next year.
Yes.
One of the one people I'm like, oh, I really want Katie to be there. But Katie,
We've
thanks
talked
so much
about it.
for,
We've talked about it almost every day. Like,
yeah, it's like we need to
how
get
can we
Katie
get
there.
Katie? Yeah.
How are we gonna get Katie there? We got Mark,
Mhm.
Washington, DC. I'm in Silver Spring. We should get a
Oh,
drink or have.
close by.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's can't be profit on books. That's
Yep.
absolutely true. Amarillo, Texas. We've got
Amarillo. Yep.
Oregon. We got Amanda here. Oh my gosh, slipping with
Wow.
Amanda here. We got
Hey,
Chet,
man, how are you
BookMine
doing?
coach. Oh my gosh, this is
Chet.
people going on. So West
Hello.
Virginia, Sacramento,
Ellie.
Southern California, Gainesville, Florida. Wow, there's so many people here. What is the typical sell-through time in these higher ROI books? It's going to be like you'll see when we look through some of them. Some of them will be a little bit shorter, 4 or 5 months. Some of them are longer, 6 months, 9 months. Some of them are even longer. And Victor and I will talk about your expectation. Like make sure you're setting your expectation for which type of book you're looking at. We got Sherry in the house. We got Amin in the house. Birmingham,
Wow.
Alabama. We've got
Sherry,
Mesquite,
how you doing?
Nevada.
Mesquite.
Birmingham, Harlan from Maine. Good evening, Joji and Victor. Congratulations on launching BookMine Explorer. For all you both do, you're phenomenal, always helpful in sharing your secrets. Absolutely. We're here to help you all find amazing books that are not going to necessarily sell when they show up to Amazon warehouse, but like they're going to be sitting there on Amazon and the right buyer comes along and
That's the goal. Yep.
That's the goal.
And big money will follow you. Yeah.
We're international now, Victor. Melbourne, Australia. Huge crowd, says Chet. That is awesome.
Well, we had Jim. We said Jim. How's it going, Jim?
Yeah, did we say? Oh no, we didn't. Arizona, let's get it.
Yep.
Juicy books. Yes, these are the juicy books.
They are.
Those who don't know, that's kind of an inside joke for really high profit books. These are juicy. Huge crowd. We got also estimate the number of hours saved in addition to the astonishing ROI the BookMine Explorer can give. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Eastern Washington State.
good
Sarah's
point.
happy for the shout. Okay. Oh my gosh. I did not expect there to be this many people, but I'm extremely excited that they are here because BookMine Explorer is awesome. So let's give a
Yep.
little bit of background. We put BookMine because we wanted to help people find books easier, right? Wanted to
Yeah,
help
and we
people.
started that like in like a year ago in like June or July,
Right.
and we just kept it under like wraps, and basically we even worked through Christmas and got it launched say right around February timeframe. And we both knew when we were launching, hey Joji, there's these other books we're not going to be able to get to because there's just not enough data with them. I hope
Yep.
you're okay with that because I know you like those type of books, but we just don't have we don't have the information yet to get those books in BookMine. And we both agreed, okay, sure, let's be good with it, and then down the road let's build something else on top of BookMine to find these type of books. And so right after we launched, we started to try to put together now what we're calling BookMine Explorer, and I think it's just awesome.
Yep.
I mean, just even like 2 months ago, we had only 200 books on BookMine Explorer.
Yep.
And now we have 12 to 1300 books every hour. It's pretty wild with the type of improvements we already have in the last couple of months.
Yep. So just so that you guys know, if you're kind of not really, you haven't heard what's going on with BookMine Explorer,
Yep.
essentially what we're trying to do is help you all find much higher ROI books with the understanding that a lot of these books don't sell very frequently. They're sort of more of the investment style approach. Like when I made the A2A masterclass, what a lot of people loved is the high ROI, but also what people didn't like was that, well, Joji, yeah, I mean, great, you can buy a book for 18 and sell it for 60, but it took you 6 months to sell it. I'm like, what's wrong with that? That's awesome. I'm making great money on that book. And, so kind of when we built BookMine, we're like, all right, we need to find these books that are 50+% ROI that are going to help people, move and flip books, right? But in the beginning, even though when you don't have much capital and you're flipping a lot of the time to try to build capital, as you start building that snowball, what you want to, well, I shouldn't say you don't need to transition completely over to this, but you should start thinking of, all right, let's put some of that capital to work for us and let's actually start buying sort of like investment style books. Because what you guys will find on BookMine Explorer is there's going to be books that maybe sell 3-4 times a year, right? They don't sell very often, but hey, they always sell for 60 or 70 bucks. And hey, it just happens to be $15 right now. Let's go and pick it up. And those are the kinds of books that we're going to try to help you guys find on BookMine Explorer. These really, high ROI books that are good. Again, not going to sell necessarily the week that they check in Amazon, even though some people have already sold some of the books we gave away for free, right? Which is pretty cool.
Lots of people have already sold books and already like DM'd us and even posted it in our Facebook groups. So
yeah, and I know because I've already done it. I've already, Victor, flipped 3 books from BookMine Explorer that made over the cost of a basic subscription of BookMine. And I've showed you those, and you're like, yeah that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And I think, you kind of won me over February, March, April, each time you kept on showing me like, hey, I just flipped this book. And I kept telling you, yeah, I know we don't have enough data yet to find these books yet. And I honestly thought maybe that was not even possible, but we went back and improved a lot of like image recognition type of software to get these books. And I just think it's great what we've done. So
absolutely. Yeah. One thing that I do want to let you guys know is that BookMine Explorer is not going to be like an additional cost. It's just, Victor and I just want to add value. We really want you guys to be successful if you guys are going to join BookMine. So if you're a BookMine member, not only do you get access to BookMine, but you also get access to BookMine Explorer just as being a BookMine member. And so it is live now, and we're going to dive into our screen here in a second to actually show you some of the books that you can find. But the other thing we want to let you know is that for all BookMine members, next Friday, which is actually October 18th, we're going to have a special training that's not going to be live on BookMine. It's not going to be live, on the BookMine YouTube channel or on my YouTube channel. It's going to be like a private, Google Meet meeting call with all BookMine members that want to come. And we're going to go through a more intensive BookMine Explorer training, just because, again, remember that these types of books don't sell very often, but have huge potential ROI gains. So you really want to make sure that you know which books you shouldn't be buying, which books you should be buying. And so that's
so
going
like
to be,
we're going to dig into it right now, but we're going to really focus in on it next Friday. So next Friday, we're just going to like go book by book and tell you why we would buy it or not buy it. and also how to get to some of my favorite filters, probably some of Joji's favorite filters, and then really get into how to be successful with BookMine Explorer.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to be for all BookMine members by October 18th. And the cool thing is that if you guys do sign up for a free trial, technically that meeting is less than 10 days from now. Our free trial is 10 days long. So you guys could come to that technically as just, having signed up for a free trial, which is awesome as well. So that's going to be on October 18th. But I think we've been talking a lot. Let's just actually show BookMine Explorer. Victor, are you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. All right. So here it is, everyone. This is the BookMine app. And for those of you who use BookMine all the time, you're going to look up here in the top left and go, whoa, this looks a little bit different up here. What are you seeing up here, Victor?
I see a 1 and a 2 there on the top left.
Yep. And when I hover over 2, what does that say?
Explore.
It says BookMine Explorer. So right now on tab 1, you're on just regular BookMine. Right. So this is going to show you awesome books. Like here's a book that's at $12.60. It looks like from January to July, it was selling in the 25 and 30 range, and maybe even more than that. So awesome.
And there's like 3,700 books in here right now, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere. Yeah, 3,800 books. Yeah.
3,800 books in BookMine. So by no means are we saying stop using BookMine, like normal BookMine, because normal BookMine is awesome, and normal BookMine is going to be a bunch of bread and butter flips, great books to find there. But for those of you who want to do a little bit of exploring, we've got ourselves tab number 2, which is BookMine Explorer. Why do we call it Explorer, Victor?
Well, we were trying to get with a gold mining type of theme, and we knew that we were going to have to really dig deep to try to find some of these books. And so we decided, what are some like names or words that kind of match that, and we decided Explorer sounded right.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And the thing here is that you will need to do a little bit of digging. Again, the type of books that I buy, these long tail high ROI books, they're pretty much needles in a haystack. And that's why for a software to find them is incredibly hard, but we had breakthroughs with our software to be able to get rid of or make the haystack smaller. So, Victor, when they say needle in the haystack, it's no longer like needles in a haystack. It's like that has significantly shrunk down, where it's still like, it's not like every book that pops up here is a book that you're going to buy, but there's a lot of books here that will show up that you're like, whoa, okay, that's a pretty awesome book. I actually need to take a deeper look at that kind of book. So we're going to go through, and I guess what we should first say here is, well, what sort of metrics or what sort of meters up here are the same. So we still have BookMine score. And again, Victor, the higher the BookMine score, the more pieces of data we have, right?
Yeah, the more confident we are that this is a really amazing book. So the closer to 10, the more confident we are that this is a really, really great book.
Yeah, so you could go up to a BookMine score of 7 to 10, and then all of a sudden, and now you have those books that have a higher BookMine score, books that we're more confident in terms of being actually pretty good books. So you have BookMine score there. You also have the high profit meter as well, which is, again, the potential profit. We're not necessarily saying you're going to make X number of dollars profit, but what we're saying is the higher that meter is, the more likely it is that that book is probably going to give you a pretty good return on your money if you were to actually buy it. And again, we can't just say blind buy, right? There's, unfortunately, we can't make the software for it's like, oh yeah, just buy all these books and don't do any research and don't open Keepa and just, buy. Like, that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that there are tons of great books here, and sure, do the last 20%, do the last bit of research, but it's almost like we've got the fish on the hook for you, and all you got to do is reel it in, but you still got to reel it in. Right, Victor? So that's it.
I mean, we're almost there with it, right? You can move the BookMine score close to 10 with a high profit meter, very close, like 4 or 5. Those are books that really close to being like, just buy them.
Yeah. Very close.
And the next one up is the used price slider.
Right.
Basically, we wanted books just between $1 and $30. Just because we know that these books kind of sell less frequently, and so we don't want you to like put all of your money into these books. So we kind of went and cut books off at $30. So what you're going to find here are books between $1 and $30 currently.
Yeah, exactly. And there are definitely books that are priced higher than that. But like we said, one thing that we really want to get across here is that even when you look at books here on BookMine Explorer that have a selling meter, 8 to 10, these are still books that are not really selling very quickly. I mean, at the most, these are books that might be selling, once a month, a couple times, like at most. Remember that if you're wanting to find flips, if you're wanting to find the books that are going to flip much more quicker, that's what BookMine's for. BookMine Explorer, though, your expectation is, okay, I'm going to spend, $10, $15 on this book. It's going to sit there for 6 months, but when it sells for $70, I'm going to make a $40 profit on it. Like, And that's the idea there with BookMine Explorer. Now, the other major difference here that we have to talk about, Victor, is actually to keep a snapshot.
Mhm.
So what are we seeing that's different here on BookMine Explorer and to keep a snapshot from here to here?
When we looked at BookMine Explorer, we realized that there's less data, and so we needed to get as much data as we could. So we decided to ask Keepa or push Keepa to give us 2 years worth of data for each book. So what you're seeing here on BookMine Explorer is a snapshot of 2 years of all these books, and I think it's really a genius move here.
Yeah, it
Because
really is.
now we can see a pattern. Now we can try to understand a pattern of this book and try to understand the
Right.
intrinsic value of the book through a 2 year period.
Right. Otherwise, the Keepa graph would kind of just be a snapshot from here on to the right, but we wanted to expand it so it's a little bit easier to see.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got the selling meter there, and then we also have the number of days since the last update, and that would just simply mean when the prices change. Is that correct, Victor?
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, and so the selling meter, as you were mentioning, is not the same selling meter as on BookMine.
Correct.
So when you're moving a 10 to on BookMine, that book is selling a ton.
Right.
A 10 here on BookMine Explorer sells maybe 1.5 times a month.
Yeah, and if you look at it like, so I'm going back to BookMine, normal BookMine. Yeah, if you go to, a normal BookMine, I mean, you can just look at the Keepa graphs. Like most of these are like going to be seasonal books that sell all the time, plenty of sales rank drops. That is going to be a lot different on BookMine Explorer. Literally getting, like Victor said, to 7 to 10, still not going to be very many drops there. So really cool. All right. Now, a couple of recommendations here. Personally, what I like to do is understand the type of book I'm buying. Generally, textbooks, Victor, over time, do they become more valuable, or do they usually become less valuable or more worthless over time? Textbooks.
Yeah, textbooks definitely less valuable.
Right. And that's because they're new editions. A college campus says, guess what? You guys used the 7th edition last year. Now we're switching to the 8th edition. Yeah. Generally, with BookMine Explorer, even though there are some textbooks that are used at college campuses for very niche courses where there's only like one edition, or normally on BookMine Explorer we're going to be finding more rare or more niche books. And so one recommendation I have for you is to actually just look at the image of the actual book, and does that to you, Victor, look like a textbook?
That is not a textbook.
That's not a textbook.
Yeah.
This also doesn't look like a textbook.
Doesn't look like a textbook.
This one looks like it is a textbook.
Yeah, that might be a textbook, right?
Right. And so it's generally better to think of, again, because BookMine Explorer is more finding these books that sell less often but have a long history of actually selling. So there's infrequent sales but consistent sales. We are trying to find these books that are more niche, these books that are more specific to a specific subject area, and are books that generally hold value over a longer period of time beyond just 2 years. So I'm already seeing a Keepa snapshot to me here that's looking pretty awesome, Victor. I'm going to actually just use this drawing tool. Here's the price right here today.
Yeah.
We're at $32. Again, that's all in shipped, right, Victor?
Right.
$32 all in. Generally, this book is listed on Amazon much higher above that. We can see that it appears that there are plenty of sales in the 60 to 70 range, potentially even a sell back here at 100. And so this is something that I'm like, all right, so I could buy this book for up to $32. Potentially I can sell for $80. And so I'm going to go ahead and open up Keepa, just like I would do normally with just regular BookMine, regular book sourcing. And then what we're going to do is a little bit more research. So we always recommend doing this, Victor. What am I doing there with my arms?
It definitely expanded past the 2 years, right? Because 2 years got us really interested. Now we want to see the entire history of the book to see whether or not the pattern continues or something kind of crazy happens after those 2 years.
To me, it looks like this book has really only ever been that low a couple times. So today, maybe right there, maybe back here in 2022 a couple of times. But if we actually look at when this book has sold, I'm seeing multiple periods of time where this book is selling for some pretty good money. And all we would do, Victor, is overlap two things. What's the use price and what's the sales rank drop at? Right. So for example, what's the use price right here, Victor? I know it's a little bit hard to tell.
It's like $90, probably somewhere right there.
Like right around $80 to $90. Same right here. Yeah. And so we have sales rank drops happen at that time, which would tell us, hey, this book was sitting on Amazon for basically $80, $83, and it looks like it is actually sold. Now, the one thing with BookMine Explorer, and we'll go much more in depth in the training on October 18th, right, for all BookMine members, is the one thing you really do have to be careful about are periods of time like this, Victor, when the use price is high and then the use price drops, and then pretty much instantly what happens?
It sells.
It sells. Why? Yeah. Because it's a great deal, right? This book has been sitting for $100. Now it's $20, and it sells, and then it goes right back in price. Right. And so actually what you guys are seeing here on the Keepa graph is actually just the price dropped and then the book sold. So we wouldn't say the book sold there for 100. It sold there for 28, but you can even see how the offer count changed quite substantially. So maybe this was a repricing war between a few different bulk booksellers, and so maybe somebody picked up a couple copies. But what I'm seeing here is a book that's listed at $28, or actually it's $32, I think, with shipping, that has sold multiple times in the 80s and even recently has sold quite well. Looks like in the 60s, in the 60s and in the 70s. So for a book like this, personally, based upon its entire historical data, I'm seeing sales or comps as high as 105, and I'm seeing probably the majority of the comps in the 70 range. So if I were to buy this for 32, I'd probably price it between like $80 to $90 personally. What would you say, Victor?
Oh, same thing. Yeah. Between $85 to $90.
Right. Now, again, if we take a look at this keeper graph, you really are going to need to be quite good at reading keeper graphs just to make sure you're not making mistakes. And so again, next next Friday, October 18th, we'll go into more detail on how to look at this. This is a book that maybe at first glance looks like it's pretty decent. It's actually sitting here at 20, and we actually see a few sales rank drops. But again, these sales rank drops, Victor, happen when the price actually just drops.
They all look like they sold right when the price was like pretty low there, like maybe $10, $15. So this book to me looks like to be right around $15.
But still just a bizarre book, Victor, because I mean, its price is just wild. Like you can go to Amazon and this book's at $85, then it's at $260, then it's at $80. It's kind of all over the place. Again, one thing that we really recommend is looking at its entire historical data. I'm seeing this book is probably worth in the 30 to 40 range based upon sold comps in the past. So this is, for example, a book that I wouldn't buy that's on BookMine Explorer, but still a book that we need to get better at. Like all of us get better at knowing that that's a particular book that we shouldn't be buying. But again, we'll go much more in depth into a training. So here's another book, Roswell, A New Beginning. This book's $6.28, Victor.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really get much lower than that. We can look at the last sold comp. What was the last sold comp there, Victor?
$52, it looks like.
So it looks like, either $48 or $53.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Okay, then we can look at the sales before that. It looks like we're at $18, $20, $23, $43, $84. We had a sell down here. It looks like that's at 15, a couple sells at 20. Now, again, expand the entire historical selling data. We can see back here, hey, we have a cluster of sales in the 20s. We have some sales in the high 20s, potentially a sell as high as 100, some sales in the 50 range again. We can keep going further back into time. We have some more sales in the 40s and 50s. Again, even like sales rank drops when the use price is as high as 130. So you have a book that's all over the place. But Victor, would you say this book is worth more than $6?
Yes. And you can see what we're doing here, right? We're having to look at the entire history of the book because there's just not enough data to really make a decision on just 1 year worth of data or even 2 years. We need to look at the entire history of the book to see the real value of it. And yeah, you're right there. This book is definitely worth more than $6.
So $6.26, even though there's an Amazon,
it's still there right now. $6.
Yeah, even though there's an Amazon FBA seller at 14, this is still a book that I'd be buying because I'm not planning to sell this book at 14. Why would I? There's tons of historical data since 2016 that this book can easily sell for $40. And so that's kind of the price that I'd be aiming at, probably like $30 to $45. And so if we could pick this book up for $6.26, my target would probably be $39.99. I mean, that's what we're talking about, right? High ROI book, 300 plus, 300% on that. Again, it's not like you're spending a lot of money, but if you have to wait 5-6 months to turn $6 into after fees getting back $25, that's a great way to start building some capital long term. Now, this particular book looks like I don't know. It looks like a 90s movie, but it's actually came out in 2003. But it is actually a paperback book. So very interesting book there. And yeah, I mean, there might even be some other types of books as well from that particular series. Maybe it's a show or something, but
yeah, great
book there. All right. Let's see. Any questions in the chat there, Victor?
No, just basically a ton of how are you and what's up? Like Frank says, congratulations on the launch.
Whoa,
my father-in-law's here.
Frank?
Yeah,
Frank
little Al Frank.
Oh my gosh, Frank is here too. Join the party, Frank. That's awesome. All right. So
we're gonna be sending you these books soon, Frank. So
yeah, Frank, you're gonna get a lot. You're like, Frank's gonna be like, wait, this book is worth something? Yeah, Frank, that book sells 4 times a year for $80. Yeah,
this dusty book.
Yeah, this dusty book.
Yeah.
Like, how many people, if they saw this Jazz Records, I know it's a 2-volume set, but how many people, if they were to see that, would be like, it's worthless? Probably a lot of people.
People.
And this is a 2-volume set. So another thing that you should watch out for, doesn't just go for BookMine Explorer, but also goes for regular BookMine or just buying books. And when you flip Amazon in general, is whenever there's a listing of a 2-volume or 3-volume, or it's a set, like it requires multiple copies, really do your best to make sure that whoever you're buying the book from or the book set from actually comes with all the books. Because Victor, if you buy this
Yeah.
for 1890 and you get one
Yeah.
volume, I mean, what are your options really?
Yeah, just have to send it back.
Yeah, you
And a
gotta
lot of
return it.
times, these mega booksellers are just scanning the book, and the
Yeah,
ISBN number will be that. They don't realize that there's a two volume set, and you'll buy it from them, and you're only going to get one copy of it. So a
exactly.
lot of times, if it's a set, I want to go in there and look to make sure I'm actually going to get both copies.
Yeah,
It actually says this is the set, and I'm sending you 2 books or something, and
right.
it's like plural books,
Yeah,
and then I'll buy that. But besides that,
absolutely.
I'll stay away from a book like this.
Absolutely agree, and we'll take a look
Yeah,
at this listing because I mean, this keep a graph couldn't be more awesome. You
yeah,
basically have the price right there at 1890 all in shipping. The only
hmm
time it was that price was in 2023, where it looked like it was there for maybe a day,
yeah,
and then somebody bought it. And then generally the used price is basically in the high 50s to maybe low 60s there. And there are sales rank drops, right, Victor? So
right.
what does that tell us? Sales rank drop, sales rank drop, sales
This
rank
book is
drop.
worth $50. When every time
And
it's at $50, the market's still buying it, right?
yeah,
So yeah, we're just listening to the market. The market's saying this set is worth at least $50.
yeah, and it's not like this book has sold a ton this year. It's sold maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 times, so less
Yeah.
than once a month.
Mhm.
But the books we're trying to find on BookMine Explorer are infrequent but consistent sellers, or books that have or hold value. This book holds value because every time the sales rank has improved, the used price on Amazon has been in the 50s. And has that changed at all, really, since like 2017, Victor?
Yeah, not really.
Not really. It's
Yeah.
basically like, yeah, you could have came and saw this book in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022,
Right about $50.
2023,
Yeah.
2024, and it's essentially selling in the 50, if not higher range. And again, that's just the lowest use price. Now, we're going to do some due diligence because even though this is a great book, we still want to make sure that when we go to the listing,
Yeah.
that we're likely to get both copies. So you're more likely, obviously, to get both copies from somebody who has a higher feedback rating because they're probably checking that. But you actually see we have Glenn the Bookseller, books from California, and we have Goodwill. So probably unlikely here, if I'm being honest, probably unlikely that you'll get both volumes from any of these sellers. However, what I can say is there are some, merchant fulfilled sellers that have great feedback, and they're like, includes volume 1 and volume 2, and boom, that's when you got a winner for this book, right?
Yeah, the Fred Goodwill, you want to like open it more? Maybe
Yeah.
possibly in the description. No, it doesn't. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't. So it doesn't look. So in this
Yeah.
case, you would be taking a gamble or taking a shot. But again, you could always check eBay. And even though we might not buy this book because we're not sure if it comes with both volumes, what I want to point out is
That was a great graph. Yeah.
this is the exact graph that
hmm
you're looking for. You're
hmm
looking for a book that has held long-term historical value. So I'm actually going to make that black, not green, so I don't confuse people. You're looking for a book that has held long-term historical value, that has actually sold and is currently priced well below what it has sold for historically. And again, what are some reasons why these books get so undervalued, Victor?
They get so undervalued because there's just not much demand for it, right? So a buyer won't show up for this book for months.
Right.
You can see it in February all the way to May. So if there was a pricing war that started, say, in March, nobody would still come on that listing until May.
Yep.
So this book could get from 50 to 40 to 30 to 20 to 10 until finally sometime in May someone shows up and buys the book. So
Yep.
that's why that typically happens. Plus, a
Yep.
lot of these buyback companies won't touch these books
Yep.
because they don't sell that often, and because of that, their algorithms say that this book is probably worthless, and so
Yep.
very few people will even pick up this book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And like, for example, this book I'm so confident in that I would basically, like, if anyone ever had this 2-volume set for $20 and they want to ship it to me, I'll give you $20 like all day for this book. Why? Because I just see long-term historical selling data to suggest this book is worth 40. This book set is
Are we
probably
starting
easily
a
sellable $50 to $60.
yeah?
What was that?
Are we starting a buyback company?
Maybe. Let us know, guys, down below down below. Do you guys want Victor and I to start a buyback company? That would actually be crazy. I'll tell you this: if we were to start a buyback company, we'd probably buy a lot of books that other buyback companies wanted, which would be
Oh
pretty
yeah,
fun. That's because we actually look into the data, right, Victor?
right.
Okay. I'm not sure about you, Victor, but this is just looking like a crazy graph to me as well. I mean,
Yeah,
for a very similar reason, right? You're looking at,
looks really interesting.
yeah,
Yeah,
we're looking at the use price almost always being up here. except for
Today.
today.
Yeah.
Has this book been selling in the 60 to 70 range?
Sure. All year
Yeah.
long.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, maybe not all year round, but like definitely, right? I mean, plenty
I
of
mean, it
sales
has all
raindrops.
year long. It just
Yeah.
at different points. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
different points, right? Selling every year. And so again, we would open up this keeper graph. This one particularly looks like it's actually a textbook. It says third edition. And we can see, okay, maybe the most recent three sales were, it looks like 25, maybe 20, maybe $20 there. But then we had to sell at 70. We had what looks to be a couple sales here, probably 65 and maybe even there at 116.
Mhm.
That's what I'm thinking. A sell at 60, a sell at 60. And
This
then we expand the historical selling data, and you could pick and choose any point in time from 2018 to 2024. And there are numerous instances
Yeah.
where this book, if you were to buy today, would have sold for significantly more than what you're buying it for.
Yeah.
I mean, there's even potentially sales up there as high as the 160s. Again, high ROI, right? I mean, one thing that I would recommend, and a major tip I have for a lot of you out there, is the number one way to get a book that sells infrequently to sell faster is to offer it at a very lucrative price. Because remember, it's not like there are people coming to this listing every day that want to buy these books. It's kind of like there might be 40 or 50 people out there that are actually looking at this book this year. And of the 40 or 50 people who are looking at it, maybe only 10 or 15 pull the trigger, right, Victor?
Right.
So if you give them a compelling offer,
Mhm.
then it's much more likely that you would sell it. So, for example, this book is sitting at essentially, we've got 20, this would be like 24, 20,
Yeah.
24, 18, for example. And again, there are plenty of completed listings this year at 65 to 70. So let's say 69.99. So you're looking at 100% ROI. Great. Potentially you
Yes.
could go higher than that. But my recommendation is for a lot of these books, if you want to sell them, don't go too crazy. Like even if you see some historical sales that are way above what you're asking, like remember the goal is to still sell it, right? You still want to get it to move.
And on
And
these slower books, what we got a question in the chat. On
yeah,
these slower books, would you consider how many used offer count there is and how many sellers there are on the listing?
yeah, very good question.
Yeah.
Definitely much more for, let's say, college textbooks. Much less so though for very niche or rarer books. Like for example, this book here, I would like, let's say the offer count had went up instead of it being at 16, it's at 25 now. I would actually probably just buy many of those copies because I would look at this this holistically. This 2 volume set has been basically listed on Amazon since at least 2016. And I know that its offer count ebbs and flows, but even if it does creep up there higher than it's ever been, it's not like there's just a bunch of these in some warehouse sitting around. It's just like there happened to be a couple of big bulk sellers that all found it generally around the same time. And honestly, this is something that, like this particular book sell, you could probably sell for the next decade pretty easily because when did this come out, Victor? I mean, let's actually take a look at this book
Actually
set.
looks pretty old.
1978, right?
Yeah.
So there's
And so like what I normally figure out is like on these slower moving books, most of the time you're not going to find very many FBA sellers. Well, first off, they don't have any software to ever figure out that these books exist. So you're not going to find very many people even buying these type of books. And so if we were to buy them and put them on FBA, we're going to be one of very few FBA sellers on any of them. A lot of times we'll be the only one. And so even though maybe there's other 15 other sellers, we'll be the only FBA. So that isn't really my biggest concern.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, again, a lot of the times the people you're going to be buying from are going to be the bulk booksellers. You're going to see a lot of Glenn the bookseller on here, a lot of books from California, a lot of Goodwills, Books Unplugged. Like there's going to be these, because remember, at the end of the day, a bulk book operation, their goal is just to sell volume. Like that's at the end of the day, that's what they're trying to do. And so we have the ability to exploit that fact and find these books that they're really dumping for way too cheap. And again, it's just because they're not willing to wait, whereas we're willing to wait. Like, for example, remember what the alternative is, everyone. Like in an investment approach, the alternative is like get the S&P 500. That's the benchmark, 7-8% after inflation on a historical average. So you're talking about for every $100 you invest at the end of the year, if you can get 108 after inflation, like that's great. So for me, thinking of buying a book and letting it sit in Amazon for 6 months, 9 months, or a year, like I honestly don't even consider that like a long-term investment because I'm like, these are books that if I truly believe in them, I have a high confidence in them, I'm happy to let them sit there for 6 months, 9 months, or a year. And again, if I price them competitively and I'm the only FBA seller on the listing, there's a very high likelihood that I sell. And I know that I do sell them because that's my business model, right? Victor and I have a slightly different business model. I do a lot of these all year round niche long tail books. Victor does less of them, but I think Victor, and I'm hoping you can correct me if I'm wrong, you see the power here, right? Like you see the
I do
power
see
in these.
the power here, and I'm buying them. I'm buying them as frequently as you are, but
Yeah,
I am buying them. They are part of my portfolio. I'm
yeah,
buying at least 10% of my portfolio of these type
yeah,
of books just because
yeah,
they're just such great winners. Like you have
yeah.
such a high ROI with each one of them.
Yep. What's really interesting is sometimes these types of books, like this one in particular, you can actually see a new seller just came on the listing, merchant fulfilled, more than likely at $35, which is actually still below what the book historically sells for in used condition. So there will be opportunities where you could even buy books in new condition from third party sellers. I personally wouldn't recommend selling them in new condition. I would just turn them around and sell them in very good or good condition. Personally, that's just my, that's personally just my decision. But for example, this is a book that's currently listed at about $30, $31.97. And one thing that we're going to talk about a little bit more in the training on next Friday, again, you had to be a BookMine member to go to that training, is the fact that what we would recommend doing if you're having a hard time is going back and counting the sales, like
Yeah.
looking at the last 10 sales of this book. So, for example, if we go back and look at the last 10 sales, we're just looking at what price was the last 10 sales link drops at. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and taking an average of those sales. So for example, Victor, it looks like this is basically, 57, 50, 60, 69, 56, 50. And so if you added all those 10 cells together and kind of average them out over the last 10 cells, you'd say, okay, this book is probably worth in the 50s. Like
Right.
that's what its inherent value is. And again,
Mhm.
we'll go much more in depth next Friday so you guys can understand what that looks like. But that gives you a good indication of, okay, is there a margin for you to make there? In this case, there's definitely a margin. It's not like a massive margin, but with that said, Victor, do you see this book actually having sold for significantly more than that in the past?
Yeah, when you opened it up
Yeah,
and passed the year, it got me much more excited about the book, right? Because in
yeah,
2021, 2020, the book was probably selling what close to $100 or over
yeah.
$100 in
Over
some points.
$100.
Yeah.
I mean, close to 100 definitely here. Some sells at
Mhm.
124, some sells at 100, some sells at 170, sells at 115. So certainly, if you look at this book holistically and you look at used offer count, are we at a high offer count historically for this book?
Well, really low.
We're at a really low. I mean, we're
Yeah,
down here, right?
historically low. Yeah,
Yeah, historically pretty low there. Generally, we're kind of in this like 15 range, right? Maybe
right.
even a little bit higher. And notice that when we were in that range, we were still selling for kind of even above what we're selling for now.
Yeah.
Interestingly, in the past, it was actually priced a little bit lower, but it looks like once the new sellers went out of stock for whatever reason, this is just, this happens all the time, everyone. Like, this is what happens with collectibles, no matter what collectible it is, right? It's sold brand new, people love it, and then all of a sudden, it's no longer sold, it goes out of print, and then it skyrockets in price. It happens with all the collectibles, right? Basically, every collectible, every Lego set, every Pokemon set, every car, it was sold at MSRP, and then it goes out of stock, and that's what you'll see with a lot of these types of books. They tend to sell for a lot. So this is definitely has potential at buying this book in new condition. And one thing that you do again is your due diligence, right? How many copies are in stock? Does this person have 50 in stock? Obviously, that would be negative. It looks like they have one in stock, and obviously, you want to make sure and check to see that this is actually you know um, somebody with good feedback and so on. It looks like you can even pick it up a little bit cheaper at 27.97. So this FBA seller probably just went below the new price because they just came, this new seller came on the listing. But there is no way in heck, Victor, I'd be selling this book for $27 or 39.
Yeah.
I can tell you that right now because this book has plenty of historical data to suggest it's worth more than that.
I
So
would
I
sell
think
in the
that's
50s at least. Yeah.
that's what's so cool about doing cherry picking in Amazon to Amazon is you can really dive deep and look into every keeper graph and figure out, okay, is this a book that I'm wanting to buy here? Okay. Whew. Any other questions in the chat, Victor? I feel like we're just going.
Actually, I already answered it, but it was how
Okay.
often does BookMine Explorer refresh? I guess also in BookMine. When
Okay.
did they refresh, Joji?
Okay. So BookMine, regular BookMine is refreshing every hour. So
Right.
essentially, what we have found is that people log on to BookMine, they buy a bunch of books, and the number goes down. But then at the top of the hour, we refresh, and there's a whole bunch of new books. So it's right now, it's like there aren't enough people buying books on BookMine, not enough people buying books on Amazon to replenish like the good books that keep coming. So
Right.
every hour we update on BookMine. BookMine Explorer, I believe, was every 2 hours. Did we get that down, Victor?
We did. We actually just got it down to
That's
every
crazy.
hour. So
Every hour.
every hour the data will be refreshed. So I think that's pretty cool.
I really like this book for a couple of reasons. Number one is I see that this book is priced right here, right at, I think, $20 all in shipping. There's only been one other time it's been there. And for the large majority of the year, it's been up here at 60, right, Victor?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
what we know is that we're getting in at a good price. Why? Because if we're at 20 and then generally it's sold here and there for 60 bucks, I mean, that's margin right there. That's essentially what the book has sold for historically is 3 times more than what you can buy the book for today.
See, and normally, Joji, I would also say no to this book normally because Amazon's on the listing, but there's still enough demand that
Yeah.
Amazon can have some of the sales and
Right.
also third-party sellers can also have some of the sales. So
Yeah.
that wouldn't deter me on this book just because there's that many sales on it.
And one thing that I really like about this book is, again, remember, oftentimes these books will become undervalued because you have bulk booksellers that are undergoing repricing wars on these high sales rank books that don't sell very often, bringing the price down really low. And look, this book went all the way down here, right? This is a repricing war. Has that ever happened in the past, and did it recover and sell for a profit,
Yeah,
Victor?
exactly. You can see it that the exact
Woo!
thing happened in May, and then it recovered back to $60.
Right.
So
So
when
you,
people ask
yeah,
like, how do you know for sure this is going to happen? You can just okay, well go look back at April if you want. You know, it did that same exact thing as it's doing right now.
yep. And
Yep.
you would have had one, two,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You would have had 8 opportunities in that next like 6 or 7 month time stretch to have sold it and made profit. So similar, you could have bought this book for 20. Now, again, Amazon's on the listing, everyone. So remember, Amazon's the ceiling price. No one's going to buy your used copy for more than what Amazon's charging brand new. But still, I think easily this is a book you could sell for in the low 50s to mid 50s pretty easily.
And while we're on this book, Joji, is there a sales rank threshold that we won't go past? Like if this
Mm.
has like a 4 million sales rank, are we like definitely not? Or do we have that? Are we even looking at that?
Honestly, everyone, I don't look at the number for the salesman. I look at a combination of, is there a proven track record of the book improving in sales rank number, meaning like, is there a track record of the book selling, and is even if it's selling infrequently, is it selling consistently over a long period of time? Is it a niche book? This particular book is a book that came out pretty recently. It only has 700 days worth of data, but like for example, this jazz record book, I mean, for example, if we had a 4 million threshold and we came across this book here in November of 2022, it had a 4 million. Oh, get rid of it. 4 million
Yeah.
rank. No,
Yeah.
it's that. I don't think of it in that way as a number. I think of it as, even if the book is selling infrequently, is it selling consistently? And
Yeah, because
again,
also, Joji, the
yeah,
book could be out of stock, right?
yeah, it could be out of
And
stock.
so
Exactly
the
right.
sales rank will keep moving up higher and higher, not because the
Exactly
book is not a great book, but because there's nobody selling the book.
right.
And I think specifically on BookMine Explorer, the book has to at least have sold once, I think, in the last 6 months. And if as long as it's sold once, we'll consider it. And
Yeah,
that's something like millions of books that we look at that have at least sold once in the last 6 months or last year, last 6 months.
yeah,
And then we put other algorithms on top of it to
yeah.
come up with these 1,300 books on BookMine Explorer.
Yeah, here's a great example. Notice that this book actually went out of stock right around here. So it went out of stock right there. And then you actually notice that the sales rank number actually increased, right? Went up to, it kept going up. So if a book goes out of stock, you would expect the sales rank to get worse, right? More
Mhm.
just kind of awesome books that we found here. This, by the way, if you guys ever see a book that is just this physics books a la carte, it just means that there
That's
hasn't
not
been
the
an
actual
image.
book.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not the actual book. This is like a stock image. Instead of saying no photo, it's just for whatever reason chosen that it's this random physics books a la carte book. No idea why that's what's chosen. But again, look at this. Here's a college book that looks to be priced at currently $21 all in shipping right there. And this is a book that over the last couple years has actually sold quite well, and it generally selling in like the 50 range. Again, this is all at the lowest use price. This isn't
Yeah.
even considering an FBA prime bump, because oftentimes you will be able to sell these books even higher than that lowest use price because you are a prime seller. And again, I'm really excited, Victor, for the BookMine Facebook group, because there are going to be people like, I bought this for $12 and sold for 80. There's gonna be people like, I bought this for 25 and sold for 180, and you're just like, that's crazy, right?
Mhm.
There's just a lot
Right.
of really awesome books here.
It's already happening. But yes,
Yeah.
you're right.
Okay. Let's take a look at this book here as well. And again, it's not like every book that you're gonna come across is a winner, although we have found some awesome books here already. So
Yeah.
again, here's a book, basically $25. Let's look at the last sales. 55, maybe a couple down there right around what it is today. Then we got 53, then we got 53, then we got
Yeah.
53. Looks like it potentially, I mean, it's possible that the book still sold a few times during this range. It's possible, but it looks like the sales rank hasn't really improved there. If we look at the last 4,900, I mean, Victor,
Yeah.
I
This
see
is
this and I'm
actually
like, this
this
is
is
money.
actually a really great book, right? The 1 year, I was like, okay, pretty good. But then
Yeah.
when you open the entire 4,000 days, it's a no-brainer.
And the reason why we say it's a no-brainer is because like there are books like these that you could buy, put on your bookshelf, come back 5 years, and then still sell and make money.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Because this is I mean,
It's
it's
just
not like this book
consistent.
is,
It's
yeah.
consistently selling at a increased price.
Yeah, Amazon went out of stock for $34 in 2015. They haven't been on in almost a decade. Do we really think Amazon's going to come back on this listing? Probably not. The demand was there. I mean, people are willing
Yeah.
to pay money for this book, but for whatever reason, it doesn't look like this book is coming back in stock. And that's what I love about these niche and older and rarer books is that you could put them on a shelf, let them collect dust, go live your life, have fun, forget about them, put them in the basement, put them in the attic. Your grandchild finds it and it's still worth money. That's an asset. That's something that holds and retains value. And that's what I love. Those are the types of books that I really like and enjoy finding. So really cool there.
Now Jim is pointing out that you seem really excited right now.
Oh, I'm incredibly excited. How could I not be? Victor, we made this for me because this is just making all of the Keep It product finder searches just like it just completely reduces, significantly reduces the amount of time you need to find books. And it's just like, here you go. Here's at any given time, right? There's up to 1,000. There's like 1,300 books right now that we found. And again, it's not like every book is like blind buy. Yes, yes, yes. But if you're somebody who has decent Keep It knowledge, you can go through a couple of hundred of these books per day and find easily 10 books that are just gold bars. They're just diamonds in the rough. They're just absolute winners. They will eventually sell. They will make you good money. But the key is patience, Victor. Why do I say the key is patience with these books?
Because they're not going to sell quickly. Well,
They're gonna
most
sell
of them
quickly.
won't sell quickly, right? And
Yeah.
and I actually shared that young writer's book in the Facebook group, so probably it's not gonna all the books were probably already bought by now. But it was to me it was a good deal.
Yeah, I mean we have a completed listing. The last one was 65. So
Yeah.
if you could buy this book for $12.50 and sell for 65, I mean you're talking what 4 or 5 times what you bought it for. You're making 25, 30 bucks on a $12 investment. You're getting your $12 investment back, then getting an extra 30 or 40 bucks. Sure, I had to sit on an Amazon warehouse shelf for 6 or 8 months to do that, but again, that's my style. That's my strategy. That's my style. A lot of people have an issue with that and have a problem. Like Joji, there's no way I'd ever wait that long to sell books. But what's my alternative, Victor? I could just put in the S&P 500 and get 8%, over a year, or I could put it in some books and potentially get 200, 300, 400% of my money. Again, if I actually truly believe it's a book that can sell for that. And again, you'd want to look at the long-term historical data and go, okay, well, again, this is another book, School for Young Writers. Like I'm telling you, if you buy this book and put it on your shelf and forget about it and you come back in 5 years, you're probably still going to sell for a profit.
Yeah.
Like you can argue that, you had opportunity costs with that money, but these are the types of books that we're wanting to find, these rare, older niche books that are just going to perform long-term and really be great. So I'm going to exit out of some of those Keep It tabs. And anyone have any comments? Because
actually Sarah's already bought 3 books. Sarah's probably bought even more by now, but she commented that she already bought 3.
Yeah. You make me laugh out loud with your excitement. This is all. Yeah, I love this. This stuff's great. And I really wanted to get through to you like how awesome and how amazing this product is because of the fact that it significantly reduces how much time you would need to put in to find these types of books. Like I said, you're looking for needles in a haystack, but the thing is with BookMine Explorer, we made the haystack way smaller. So it's like now you can find these books a lot easier. And and that's what's awesome.
Using a few filters here and there, you should be able to find 10 pretty quickly.
Yeah. Does BookMine have a price alert now or in the future for price drops or price spikes for my BookMine portfolio? Just like stock picks will give you a price. Currently, no, we would use the Keepa feature, but never know. Our goal is,
And Sarah answered it. Basically, just put it on Keepa. I think that's probably the best way forward is go in there and put the price that you want to buy it at and set a Keepa alert.
Yeah. Oh, good question. Talk about why you wouldn't want to make this a bigger part of your portfolio. The other day you said 80-20, but I feel like I see value in these books much more than BookMine. Granted, I'm new in BookMine. I think it depends on what season you're in. And what I mean by season is, are you in the flipping game? Are you in the inventory based business, or are you in the investment right game. They're two different things, right? Because when you think of investments, Victor, you think of I put my money into something, my money's going to work for me. I put it into
Mhm.
something and I wait.
Mhm.
You know, short term, 6 months, even a year is considered short term, technically a year, 2 years, 5 years. And then there's flipping, which is, hey, I don't really have much money. I don't have much capital. Like I need to buy this for 18 and flip it for 42 and make a $12 profit and then do it again and again and again as quickly as possible. So again, Victor and I are completely different. Like, definitely over 50% of my books are these long tail sort of investment style books. And so I am actually much more that way. And Victor, I know you're less than that, but
Yeah, I do it also strategically, but strategically to help out you guys, not to help out Joji, not but to help out you guys, because I think selling Christmas books to most of you guys is you guys can understand it. And so if I'm also selling Christmas book, I would feel bad if I'm telling you guys to buy Christmas books and I'm not buying Christmas books. So I need to be buying Christmas books with you guys, so it'll be like, oh, okay, he means it. He's out here
yeah,
buying the for Christmas with us. And
yeah,
so that's mostly my portfolio, but I do buy these type of books. As a matter of fact, like I said, since me and Joji kind of partnered up in February, I seriously have been buying these like longer tail books, because initially I wasn't, until he kept on showing me, oh, I bought this book for 12 and I sold it for like 87. Isn't that crazy, Victor? I'm like, wow. And it was like almost every night. And
yeah. It's every night, every
that's
night.
when I decided to start buying some. But I it's definitely not all of my portfolio or even close to it, but
Yeah.
it's a fun addition to it.
Absolutely. A good question here. Hey, Rosemary says, "Hey Joji, Amazon keeps telling me my sell-through rate is too low. I buy these types of books. Any thoughts? I've just been ignoring those messages." Yeah, I mean, I have a very low sell-through rate as well, but the good thing is it doesn't affect my account health. And ultimately, you just don't want to lose buy box eligibility. So I still sell through enough with the books that I have, even though I do have a low IPI score. To me, it's completely fine. And I know a lot of people ask, well, what about long-term storage fees? Again, remember the expectations with these types of books. These books are not going to sell, the
Yeah.
day or the week that they show up to Amazon. They're going to sit there, but when they sell, they're going to sell for a huge margin. At the end of the day, we're in the business of making money, right? And so the idea is these high ROI book flips can bring you back a lot of money. And yes, you will be paying long-term storage fees on books that are sitting there for 6 or 9 months or even longer, which is why it's really important when you do buy a book to price it appropriately. Just because you saw one sell at 150 and all the other sales are 80 doesn't mean you should list it for 150, right? It
Right.
means like go where the meat and the potatoes are. Go where are the majority of the people who are willing to buy the book, where are most of those sales at? And that's where you should be setting the price
Yeah.
at, because of the fact that this is not something that is going to be selling very quickly. So just understand that. Tanner says there are 78 good books, gold books that I found searching through 250. And the good thing is once you're
Yeah.
good at Keepa,
Yeah.
like, it's not like it's hard to go through a page. I can literally go
Yeah.
through a page in like 20 seconds. Like, boom, 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 like just scroll, 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 because I've trained my eyes to know what I'm looking for. And you've
Mhm.
seen it. Hopefully, you guys have seen it today in this live stream, exactly what we're looking for. But awesome. And remember, it updates every hour. So Tanner comes on in the morning, finds a couple good books. Well, guess what? Tanner has a life. He goes out with, his partner. They go have a good time. And then, Bob comes in an hour later. He finds a great book, and then he goes on with his life. And then Sarah comes in at noon. She finds great. I mean,
Yeah.
there's just tons of amazing books to go around, which is really awesome. Okay, talk about that for someone who's new, no sales yet, but capital 200 per day to invest. I said that's pretty good. If you can do 200 a day, you're essentially at $6,000 per month. I would ask, like, what's your runway? Like, how far can you go on that $200 a day before you're running out? So if you can go 3 or 4 months in a row at like $6,000 spend in books, you could definitely kind of set up a similar portfolio to mine, where you're like more of these like longer tail high ROI books. Really, all you're needing is to get a long enough runway where you start getting the sales to start coming in, so that it can essentially replenish the cost of goods sold, account that you have that will help you buy more books. So that's actually,
Because of the higher ROI with
yeah,
books, you can build 200 pretty quickly, build from 200 pretty quickly. So I would say stick with books and just start looking at these like high ROI flips.
yeah. Tanner said that's a valid question. I bought a long tail books too early in my OA book selling current. I lost buy box eligibility. Definitely make sure these books are only a portion of your inventory. Yeah, I certainly have more than just a portion of my inventory. But again, I also have seasonal books and I have textbooks as well and I have a lot of books. It's like I sell, 4,500 books per year. I mean, a large majority of those are long tail books that do eventually sell. So it's not like I don't sell books for sure. Shane says, is it every hour on the hour? I'm not sure if it's exactly the same time,
It's
Victor.
it's not just like with BookMine, it took quite a while to get it right, to get it exactly the right time period. Basically, BookMine updates about the like 5 of the hour.
Yeah.
BookMine Explorer, we don't have that yet. I can just tell you that it's every hour. I don't have the time frame yet. We'll work on that, and right now, just basically the only thing we can say is it's every hour.
Absolutely. Christian says, Joji, have you seen, and I guess this goes to you, Victor, have you seen some of our coaching help someone explode in sales? I would say that on YouTube, we're coaches, right, Victor? That's what we're trying to do. We're really trying to help. I mean, YouTube is we're essentially free coaches on YouTube. That's why we made the BookMine Academy. That's why all my YouTube videos are made. It's to really help people get better at selling books, to really help improve their lives. Like, that's the goal. Like one-on-one coaching, I don't really do very much one-on-one coaching. But we have the BookMine mentorship group, and I would say a lot of people there have done well. Like, you know, a lot of people probably even in the comment section here who have watched our videos and have been, you know, in the mentorship program, like Sarah, for example. Like, I think Sarah's growth could be contributed or attributed a lot to your help, Victor, right?
To both our help, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, but let Sarah say that. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. And she
Potentially.
is almost at $100,000. We have Michelle Reed. I don't know if she's here, but same thing. I'm currently mentoring like 3 people who goals are to sell over $500,000 worth of sales this coming year, and I truly believe they're going to make it. So there's that, and then I'm also working with Avery, so you know, and see what he's gonna do, and he's trying to get to like 10,000 a month in profit per month, so that's well over $100,000 in sales.
That'd be
So
like
yeah,
400,
we're you know, we are working behind the scenes to help out some people, but that doesn't necessarily mean you need to do one-on-ones with us. Like, we have the group sessions, we have YouTube, you know, lean on those.
Yep. Bill says, Joji helped me quadruple my business in a year. Bill is killing it. He was at Books and Beyond, and I was kind of shocked at how well he's doing. Bill is just freaking killing it. So congrats to you, Bill, man. Shane said, I started last year and averaging 3,000 a month with a lot of long-term books. And he says profit, 3K profit, right? Shane, it works, right? These long-tail books work. I mean, I'm not just here preaching, like I do it and I'm making good money.
Since we made BookMine, I heard it almost every day. I mean, BookMine's pretty cool, but I want like 300% ROI. I'm like, 300%? Are you like wild? Like, that doesn't exist in the world. And then and to find out that it actually does, it's just much more difficult to find them. But yeah.
Tanner says, another positive I'm seeing is that there's very low amount of people tracking these books. Yeah, these are very rare niche books. If you miss one, track it for sure. And again, BookMine Explorers get an update every hour. So I would recommend, as I do with BookMine, multiple sourcing sessions every single day. Because if you want to be buff, Victor, you got to go to the gym every day. I'm not buff. I'm not buff, but and the reason why is because I don't go to the gym every day. But if I did go to the gym every day, I would probably look a lot different. And if you guys buy books every day like we do, you'd probably be looking a lot better with yourself.
We basically say this is like an untapped resource. Nobody's out there looking at these books. And so, Tanner, you're right. Nobody's tracking them.
Yep. And Shane says, yes, it is. That it is possible to do this for sure. Jim says, Victor has helped me immensely. Still a small fish, but a shark soon. Exactly. All right, let's get back. I think we're having people see the value in BookMine Explorer. I'm just pumped. I just can't wait for people to be like, bought this for 15, sold for 60. Bought this for 20, sold for 80. There's going to be some people, and the reason why I know this is because I've done it, where they buy the book for $25, and then they're like, Joji, it sold for $199.99 because it checked into Central Virginia Prep, and I didn't price it in time, and someone bought it for $200. And you're like, what the heck? That's possible. It's possible. Like, it's
I'm thinking, crazy. Joji, it probably refreshed since the last time you looked at this. I'm guessing maybe 7 o'clock.
Okay, let's see. And again, you know, BookMine. We're not saying abandon BookMine. BookMine is incredible. It's a great tool for finding 50+% ROI books, much faster moving, seasonal books. Like, there are tons of just awesome seasonal books on BookMine in general. But these are the types of books that are just, you know, that you can sprinkle in there that are going to be awesome. Now, there are certainly some books like this one that have less data, right, Victor? So, I mean, so wait, did this just update recently?
It did.
So, yeah, it did just recently update. Okay. So, for example, you have books like, where was I just looking? I was looking at this book here, for example. It's like, this book doesn't have very much data. This book doesn't have very much data. So I'm not saying don't look at them, But it's like in 2 years, these books appear to have maybe sold one time, and it looks like maybe they have sold for a lot. These types of books still have potential. For books like this, what I'd say those you're probably wanting them to be much lower priced, but there is an improvement in sales rank. It went from 8 million down to 300,000. This book totally sold, and the lowest used price was $99. So I mean that book
Sold for
probably
100
sold
bucks.
for
Yeah.
$100.
Yeah.
Now, if you go back to the last for sure sell, it looks like 2022, $37. And then beyond that, I'm not sure. This might be a $60 sell or a $6 sell. Depends on, again, because remember, Kiba doesn't track all these books nearly as well as they track books that sell all the time. And we'll talk more about that in the training next Friday for BookMine members. But certainly, if you could pick this book up for $6 or $7, which is not, but if it were, that would be considered a much better flip. Here's what I mean, Victor. This just updated.
Yep.
$12.97. This book just dropped. So Tanner came in the morning. He found 3 or 4 awesome books. He went to the gym. He's enjoying his life. Well, guess what? Sarah showed up. He said, "Whoa, this book just dropped in price." And again, do the research to see, okay, is this a book I want to buy? It looks like this particular book normally sells in the 30s. It's right around, $12.97. The most recent sell looks like it was at 50. For me, not enough sales long term for significantly higher than what I can buy it for, even though technically it is the cheapest it's ever been in the last couple of years. But still,
but still, I would like to see this book, right? Because it has all the right indicators. It was much higher, now it's much lower, and it did sell for $50.
Just imagine if we opened the Keepa graph and then the rest of the Keepa graph looked like this, Victor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Up here, and imagine we had a bunch. I know this is kind of wild, but we had a bunch of sales rank drops. Boom, 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 boom. You'd be like, "Whoa, this is a crazy book." And that's what the explorer part, right? Is you're exploring beyond just the tier snapshot to see if you can't find other things that are great. By the way, all that I'm doing right now is I'm just doing very quick Keepa analysis with my eyes right now. And so I'm trying to find something that also looks pretty good. Here's one at 21. It looks like the most recent sales were in the 50s. So nothing amazing high ROI, but still significantly undervalued. Here's a book that somebody probably bought on BookMine Explorer when this went from 187 down to 15. The most recent sales were in the 50s. Again, look at the long-term historical data. It looks pretty good, normally selling in the 40s and beyond. So also a good book there. Again, and all we're doing right now is just looking at the books that were last updated. So again, what you could do is look at BookMine score. You could look at the high profit meter. You could say, I'm only wanting to find books under X number of dollars. So just like BookMine, there's tons of ways that you can find books. But all I can say, Victor, is don't be sleeping on BookMine Explorer. Like if you're a BookMine member, make sure you're checking out BookMine Explorer because you're gonna find some wild books from here. Here on.
Oh yeah, it adds like 30 to 40% more books to source from every hour. I think it's a great addition to BookMine.
Absolutely. Here's a very, very interesting book. This is actually a textbook. It's probably a book that recently came out, would be my guess, 2020. Currently, it's priced at $111 in the buy box. It's right now at like $24. You can buy it on Amazon. You go back to last sell, which is at 29. Okay, not great. Then the sell before that was 86, an instant sell at 34, a sell at 94, and then maybe some seasonality here at the end, a couple sells in the 30s, and then again, one at 70. So you look back beyond that, looks like we have some sells in the 60s, some sells in the 50s. So this book even has a lot of potential, even though it is at a higher offer count and it's at 20. Like I would not be surprised at all if you sell this book this upcoming January for like $70 or $80. Would not be surprised. Now, again, everyone has to make their own decisions with which books that they want to buy. So remember that, right?
Would you buy it, Doji, or no?
Yeah, I would buy that book. For me, and again, I haven't done any more research.
Oh no, just to that point. Yeah.
But based upon that point where I got to, I would pick up a copy of this book. I think that there's a high likelihood that this book could sell for $75 to $85 within the next year. Personally, that's what I believe. And when I say high confidence, I'm like, I think there's like a 85% shot with this book that it will sell. And one thing to also note is that you don't need to be right on 100% of the books because of the fact that a lot of these books will bring such a high return or such a high margin that the 10 or 15% of books that don't perform well at all that you actually have to end up getting rid of, sure, they bring your profit down, but you're still wildly profitable, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the way that I kind of envision this is like baseball. Like right now it's the playoffs. It's like every great home run hitter like strikes out all the time. And not saying that you should strike out all the time. I'm just saying that to hit home runs, you also have to strike out, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, let's see. Any other questions in the chat there, Victor?
Yeah. Basically, You seem to for Victor. For me, it seems you work closely with Keepa. Do you know if they have any updates for 2025? Yeah, that's some
I don't
people
know if you
actually
work
think
that
I
closely.
some people actually think I work for Keepa.
Yeah. I was like, I don't think
And
you,
no,
you
I don't. And I don't think there's any major updates I've heard from Keepa. I think they're just going to keep getting more and more data and keep getting more powerful as a company. So yeah, nothing there. I did hear, if you want to hear that what is that company? The company's been buying other companies, wants to buy Keepa, but Keepa is saying that their company is worth way more than what they're offering. Basically, they're in negotiations, but Keepa is happy where they're at. So if
Kiva.
that's
If
what you
there's
were
one
looking at.
software I'd want to own, it'd be Kiva.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Kiva.
but like hundreds of millions of dollars is what they're trying to sell it for.
Yeah,
Rosemary
because it's
asked
worth that.
if a phone app is coming, and
Mm,
and because they want to, but she wants to source at work, and
mm,
so yeah, it's a good idea. We've kind of thought about it. It would require us just to do that for a while, right? Because that is a lot of work on its own.
yeah,
Neither one of us are mobile app developers, so we would have to work with people to do that.
yeah,
I think right now we need to focus on making BookMine as good as we can.
yeah,
And whenever we're done with updating BookMine, we're like, well, I think we've done everything we could with BookMine.
yeah.
Then maybe we could do something like that. But it's a while away for us.
All right. Here's a book to me that looks great. Sitting down here at 12.55, all in shipping.
Yes, three colds. Yes, thank you, Frank.
Pretty close, yeah. 12
Frank's back.
in. Yeah. Oh wait, let me make this black. Okay, sitting down here right now at 12.55, all in shipping, and it looks like there's seasonality to this book. Like for example, you can see that basically all the sales rank drops here have happened right in January. So this is definitely a single season. What we could do is go back in time to see is that repeatable, and to me it looks like that's a repeatable pattern here. So it looks like the sales rank goes down. So you actually had August there, then January, then August again, then January. Same thing, and then January, and then August again, and January again. So it doesn't look like it didn't do pretty much anything this September other than a sell for $60. But it seems to have a better January textbook season, anyways. And
Mhm.
so potentially you could pick this book up for $8.55 free shipping. I mean, a book like this, $45 to $55. I mean, you're making $25 profit on $8 investment. So again, that would be a book that I would buy. That I would feel I'd feel very confident that this book would actually sell in January. Wouldn't probably go beyond just one copy though. But again,
Yeah,
just another. That's actually a textbook as well. That's not like a rare or niche book. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, just jump on BookMine Explorer, guys. Again, if you guys want to sign up for BookMine, free trial down below. You guys get access to both BookMine and BookMine Explorer, which is awesome. I know personally, Victor, that BookMine Explorer is so powerful that if you had built this, and I would pay the BookMine subscription just for BookMine Explorer, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And again, that's not to say anything bad against BookMine. BookMine's awesome. BookMine's great. You can find tons of books, make a lot of money with BookMine, but it's just my style, right? And that's the thing is like what we did is we merged ourselves together. Victor's more of like the BookMine sort of like that style, and I'm more of the BookMine Explorer style. And we're merging those together so you can kind of have like a best of both worlds approach, which is really awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think there's a lot of people that do the style you have, Joji. I
Right.
think there's a lot of people that source that way, enjoy the thrill of the hunt like this. And it wasn't the fact that we didn't want to make it.
Right.
It required a lot more work to get there. And I
Right.
and I knew it. So I
Right.
was like, well, we can wait another 6 months in like development, or we can put out BookMine and then try to build
Right.
something else
Exactly.
later. So
Yeah, and that's what we've done here, and that's why it's so awesome. Again, another book that just looks great here. Doesn't sell a ton, but it sells infrequently, but it sells consistently. 17.96, and I'm assuming that a BookMine member just bought it because you can now see you can basically see that the Keeper chart just went up. So probably BookMine members are looking at this now, and so someone
oh
bought
yeah,
this.
there
But
people are buying it on from BookMine.
yeah, but before we
Uh
released this, like it was there for a day and a half when no one bought it, right? That's because now
yeah.
like we're showing people, and that's great. So recent sales 75, bunch of sales there at 40, and then you go beyond that, some sales in the 90s, some sales in the 40s, a sell 145, 80, 166, some sales at 100, some more sales at 110, some sales at 150. I mean, Victor, is this a book that, again, this is what I'm talking about. This book came out in 1994. This book is as old as I am, Victor.
Yeah,
Put this book on your
this
shelf.
is book. This book is stable, right? It's
Yeah,
gonna stay. It's gonna be here 5 years later, 5 years
yeah,
down the road.
yeah. Put this book on your shelf. Put it in the attic. Put it in a safe place. Come back in 3 years. You can sell it and you can make money. Like,
Hmm.
and that's just because, again, I would see that this is a book that is an asset. It's going to sell 5 to 10 times per year, and when it does sell, it's going to sell for some pretty good money. So
And then
yet
we got a
another.
question in the chat. Do you take condition in your like consideration when buying one of these books?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, especially if you're buying a rare or older or a niche book, like those people are probably even more picky than, let's say, a college student, right? College students like, I don't know, I just need this book because my professor told me I need. I'm not even going to open the book, so I don't really care what condition it's in. But for example, Victor, do you think somebody's going to care about the condition of this book, like the person who's looking for this book? I mean, probably more so, right? It's a book
More
about,
so than a college book, but not.
right.
I mean, not so much. They probably want to probably learn how to fish.
Yeah, they probably want to learn in this case, the best rigs or the best jigs for a particular style of fishing. And
Yeah,
again, this book at $23. What are the last three sales? 96, 115,
yeah,
115.
yeah.
I mean, $23 into 96, 115, and one. I don't know about you, Victor.
That's a
That
good
sounds like a
deal.
lot of money.
Yeah,
Interestingly, and again, this is the explorer part, right? Is you don't know what you're going to see beyond this point. Right? If I open 2,800 days, I don't know if everything is going to look as amazing as it is here in this year, or if it's going to look and be terrible. And
oh,
I'm
and
being
it's
honest,
terrible.
this book is terrible up
Yeah,
until
it's
2022.
great, and then it just totally crashed. So
Right.
it's a book I wouldn't buy.
Right. And
Yeah,
so you can actually see that 2017 and 2022 is basically $5 to $15. For whatever
hmm,
reason, this became more popular. I'm not sure if the author maybe died. I'm not sure if the author became more popular somehow. I'm not sure what happened, but now this book is selling for a lot more. And, even though Victor said that he wouldn't buy it, I still wouldn't be surprised if he did buy this and sell it for 70, $80. Like
yeah.
that's still entirely possible. Why? Because there's tons of historical data to suggest that it has sold for that. So, you know, um, and remember, it works both ways. Just because, this is kind of like it didn't really do well in the beginning, and then recently it's done well. Sometimes this happens with books that you buy now. Like the past has looked great for whatever reason, and then now the next year or 2 years really suck. And I don't know why. I mean, some books just do that. And again, that's what I mean, that 10-15% of books that you might have to get rid of or discard of. But the good thing is the other 80% are 85% are so overwhelmingly profitable that it doesn't matter, right? That
Hmm.
all of those gains and all those positive flips, long-term investments far outweigh, 10 or 15% that don't perform the way that you think that they might. So hopefully that's getting hopefully you guys are feeling great there. I mean, this is a book that also looks great. It's sitting down here at the lowest price it's ever been at, which is 1966 right there,
Yeah.
or 1961. It looks like basically sells in the 50s, maybe at the 100. Bunch of sales in 2023 in the 50s. Up here, Victor is sat for $200. Doesn't look like anyone was willing to buy that, but that's okay. You don't need to sell it for $200. Sell for.
But it's good to see that yes, the book went to $200. Nobody bought the book for $200, and so
Right.
don't think you can sell this book for $200 because when it
Yeah.
was at $200, no one was buying it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's the whole point, is you should only sell a book for what history has told us somebody is willing to pay for it, right?
right.
You only try to sell a Coca-Cola for $1.50 or $2 or whatever Coca-Cola costs now, but trying to sell Coca-Cola for $20 doesn't make sense unless some crazy thing has happened, right? It's because there's a history, a long track record of what people are willing to pay for something, and that's what you should be willing to pay for that book. Here's just another great example. Um, this book is sitting here at down here. I don't know, $13 is the cost of this
Yeah.
book, and it looks like all these sales have been in the 45s,
Oh, yeah,
40s,
that's a good
some
deal.
in the 50s. So you're talking 15 into 45. I mean, a book that has largely also been out of stock,
Yeah.
sometimes sold for even more than that. Some sells as high as 100. Again, you're not necessarily aiming for 100, but 45 to 55. I mean, I'd be pulling the trigger as long as you do due diligence and there's not a bunch of FBA offers on the
I would
listing.
probably buy that book. I mean,
Yeah,
everything looks great with it. Yeah.
right. And that's the thing, is you're gonna explore, you can do more research, but what we wanted to do is just help you find great books. I mean, like this one. I don't know. This book just looks, so it looks like a sell at 19 there, maybe a sell at 278. I mean, there was no new offer at that time. There was no collectible offer at that time. There's been more than one. There's also been one up here at 297. There's been, again, some at 999. This is what I mean, doing a little bit more research. And again, trying to average out the sales, but it has sold in the 20s. So I mean, it's really cheap. I mean, it's possible that you can get a pretty good margin on this book, but certainly a book I feel less for sure about, less confident on. But you can still take those risks. I mean, some of them are certainly going to pay off. And again, I can't wait in the book in the Facebook group, Victor, for people to say I bought it for X and sold for a lot. So
Yeah, we both agree that a lot of people are going to use or get a BookMine subscription just for BookMine Explorer.
Yeah, which is awesome because BookMine Explorer is awesome. So hopefully that's all making sense to you guys. Again, this book is $33, last sold for 100, maybe some sales in the 50s there. It's just there's about 1,000 books that you can go through. It's going to reset basically every hour. Just like anyone, or just like anything, the people who use it consistently are the people that are going to win. The people who log in once every week, they're not going to win because they're, it's like you still got to put in the work, right? But the good thing is Victor and I are trying to put you in the best place for success. We're trying to
we even made it as simple as possible. There's just a 1 and a 2. You don't even have to click on different links.
I know
it's just
1 or 2
tab there on the top there. 1 BookMine, 2 Explore.
Yeah, and so hopefully that's all making sense and you guys are enjoying it. So, yeah, I mean, we had 50, 60 people here the whole time with us. That's pretty incredible. BookMine Explorer is live. If you're a BookMine member, go have fun, go crazy, go buy some books. I mean, don't go too crazy. Don't spend all your money, but go buy some awesome books. Again, understand the expectation. They're going to take longer to sell, but they're going to sell for some great profits. And if you're somebody who's not a BookMine member, but you're really liking what you're seeing, you like, the instruction and the coaching and the help that Victor and I give, and you're like, I really want to try book flipping out, you guys could always try out a free trial BookMine. It's 10 days. You get access to both BookMine and both BookMine Explorer. If I'm being honest, you can make a business built around only BookMine Explorer. You can make a business built around only BookMine. You can make a business built around both of them. And so that's why they're really cool.
Exactly. Michelle Reed actually said hi. So how's it going,
cool.
Michelle? Hopefully you're still here around.
Yeah, Michelle. Woo! Sounds good. Let's see what else. Okay. You said at the beginning of the video that you're going to share some favorite filters.
Yeah, I think we said we were going to share our filters like for on the 18th. So
okay, on the 18th.
Right. If you want to do it now, go ahead.
We'll share on the 18th, right? For the BookMine members. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone that again, that's going to be only for BookMine members. It's going to be more intensive training. That's happening next Friday, October 18th. That's going to be for BookMine members only. The way that we're going to email you basically a special link, and it's just going to be like, come with your camera on, ask questions, and we're going to go ahead and do a training there, which is going to be a lot of fun. Again, if you want to try out BookMine Explorer, all it takes is a free trial. Sign up down below. You guys can have access to it for 10 days. And then after that, we got to close it off because it is kind of valuable and crazy. So can't just open it for everyone, right? There's got to be some compensation for the value it brings. But we really want to help you guys out. Our goal is to help people just improve their lives with book selling. I mean, it's helped both of us, Victor. I mean, we're both in a much better financial place because of the fact that you can sell books on Amazon.
Oh yeah. And we want to make you guys' lives easier. That's why we did it. We even BookMine and then now BookMine Explorer, because we both knew that there was a need. There's a desire to buy these type of books. So
look at this. Look at Shane. Increase the price slider to 100.
See, when we make software, we're trying to like help out the whole community. And if we have these books that are $100, I felt like we could get some of you guys in trouble. You guys will buy some of these books, maybe starting out and not necessarily see all the information, and could have these books that aren't going to sell that you bought for $100, and that was our concern. So right now we're at $30. If we see a ton of demand from you guys, like you guys are all like BookMine Explorer is amazing, everyone's on it, then we'll look into it, right? But right now I think it's a good start.
Yeah, absolutely. And we definitely want to do more training as well. So even though BookMine members, even though anyone who's a BookMine member can access it, we also want to make sure that we really go into in-depth training on Friday, because the last thing we want anyone to do is lose money. And you certainly can lose money if you're buying these types of books and you're missing key pieces of information, which is why we want to train you and show you those key pieces of information so that, most importantly, you don't buy bad books, and then, you can buy good books and make some good money on those. So, so Shane, it's a discussion that could be had for sure. Thanks, Georgie and Victor. Looking forward to digging. Absolutely. What's the plan for 2025? Oh, dominate the no, I'm joking.
Dominate the book
Books
market. Yeah.
Books and
No.
Beyond 2020. I mean, we're really trying to help people get to Books and Beyond 2025. It was an awesome time. We understand that that takes an investment to go hang out with people. A lot of people who are here went to Books and Beyond, thought it was a lot of fun. But our goal is to help people make more money and hopefully join us in Las Vegas for next year's Books and Beyond. So
My goal
that's
for 2025 and both our goals is to get at least 50 of you guys to have $100,000 in revenue
yeah,
with BookMine and
yeah,
BookMine Explorer. So
yeah,
that's our goal. We set it on at the conference, and we've been working towards it. Right. So some of the people we've been mentoring and coaching has already gotten close to that. Have already Some of them already passed it, and that's our goal. That's probably all together. And so when me and Joji talk, when we have like our business meetings, we try to think of ways to try to help out as many people as we can to get to that goal.
yep.
Yeah.
So we've got here. Thank you so much. You're welcome. We got Brad. Thank you. Chet. Thank you.
Chet,
Good to see you both. Hi, Cindy. Excited
that's
for next
awesome.
Friday.
Chet's a great teacher.
Yep. Penny
Yeah.
stock books equivalent. Yeah, I guess, but definitely more for sure in this case than I would be in penny stocks for sure. Maybe if we get BookMine certified, then get the $100 slide. Maybe BookMine certified, verified, certified. Then you have access to another tier. That'd be awesome. That'd be kind of insane, actually. You're
That
welcome,
would.
Sherry.
There's a possibility there.
Yeah. Christian says, get the lady
Amazing.
from Pawn Stars to be at Books and Beyond. That's 100K in revenue. Christian says, almost 100K in sales. My profit is too low. 2025. I'm going, yeah. The reason why we do books is because we make money. Like when people ask us at MSC, like, well, oh yeah, why do you guys still do books? And I'm just like, because I like to make money. I don't know. I just like to make money. So that's why I stick with books. It just makes the most money. I don't know why I would want to go buy Nike shoes for $25 and sell them for $37 and get 25% of them returned and not make any money. I don't know. I want to buy a book for 15 and sell for 50 and make some good money. And then when it gets returned, just go, oh, it's a used book. Just send it right back in. And then I don't know. That's just me.
Joji, I sent you a link on the Facebook group.
Okay.
Those are the 28 books to kind of show you the potential. If you want to see them or not, I mean, it's just that's just like one snapshot. These are the books that I would have bought on August 7th, and instead of buying them, I sent them to our Facebook group, and these were the buy prices, and these are the prices that most recently have sold for, and that is the profit margin after just 28 books. So, and so a lot of these are crazy sells here.
So what you're saying is these are books that when you posted, you could have bought them at this price, and then later, couple months have gone by. We went back to the Keepa chart and looked to see if the sales rank dropped, right?
Right.
To see if the book actually sold.
At those points, and then captured that price point.
And these were the price points of the books. This was the lowest used price when the sales rank dropped. So on this day that Victor posted it, you could have bought the book for 15. We went back, 2 months later passed, and the most recent sales rank drop occurred when the lowest used price was at $96.
Right.
So you bought the book for 15, made $57 profit.
Right.
Bought the book for 34, made a $44 profit. Bought a book for 24, sold for 199, made 100. I mean, that actually one looks like mine. That might have been mine. I don't know. Maybe I bought that one. I remember there's been a few that I've sold for 199 that were actually I sold a little bit higher than I wanted to, but like I said, when you use a prep center, they use a default price of 199, and I've got a lot going on, and I have a lot of
maybe priorities. So then, yeah.
And so oftentimes my books sell for 199 just because I don't price them like the same day or even sometimes within the same week, and so sometimes they sell for that.
There's a book that for 33 sell it for 172. That last book is the most proud book I have. Actually, that book I posted in the group. It was $13. There was 2 copies of it. I only took credit for one. It sold for $238, and it's $179 in profit. That is just wild.
All right, we're good. Let's look at that one on Keepa. I wrote down the number.
Okay.
19334772888. Okay, let's see. Oh my goodness, the tumor book, right? Yeah. This was was this August or September?
August.
It was August. So you could have bought it here.
Yeah.
You posted it when it went from 199 down to 639, and then the most there's actually 3 sales rank drops. One at 238.
Yeah.
One when the book dropped in price, it sold immediately, and then the last one was at 238. And then now somebody's listing at 295, but a book that has sold for multiple times.
238, which is what I wrote on the spreadsheet.
I mean, that's literally an entire BookMine subscription on one book. So I don't know what else to tell you guys other than sign up for a free trial if you guys think that it's viable. And it's just a lot of fun. But anyways, I got to head on out because I have a wife and a son, and I've got other fun things to do. So I'm going to head on out. But did you guys have fun? I
Yeah,
had
that was a
fun.
lot of fun.
Go buy some books, everyone. Can you guys say, I don't know, say BookMine Explorer in the chat or something if you guys are pumped up, if you guys are excited. Make sure you get your free trial. I'm gonna head on out here soon. But
And you know
Cindy
what,
says,
Joji, we're really gonna dig into this on the 18th.
yeah,
And we're gonna like showcase some of these books and tell people to buy these books and why we would buy them and what books not to buy and stuff like that. So
yep.
yeah.
So, look at that. Exploring the book mind tonight. Shane says, great job. Cindy says, yes. Says the Explorer.
Yeah, that's my father-in-law. Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. BookMine Explorer, Books and Beyond 2025.
Yep.
Christian says, Joji, did I get
Darnell,
a refund?
how's it going? Yeah.
Did I get a refund from? Oh, I did. Yeah, Christian, I need to make a video about it. Oh, I think I did. They said that I was eligible for a refund. I'll talk more about that to you later. But essentially, an easy way that you can go into your inventory to find books that have been damaged or lost, and you can get refunded for them. Pretty cool. But I'm pretty sure I did, Christian. Thanks for sharing that. I need to make a video on that. BookMine Explorer. We got BookMiner here. Yes, we got Brent, who's also at Books and
Brent's
Beyond,
awesome.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
Cindy was at Books and Beyond. She's already bought 4 books. Beth, Explorer, excited. So much fun. You're welcome. Thanks, Jen. Super pumped. Life is good. Life is good when you flip books. Great stuff. All right, guys. That's it. I got to go. I got a family, and so does Victor. But go buy some books. All right, guys.
Go buy some books. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.